Metro is one of 3 long poems I wrote after returning to Hungary for the first time in 1984. It traces the history of the removal of my mother from Budapest to a concentration camp in Ravensbrück, and then her return from there. It's a long poem. This is a section. She worked as a photographer. The war had started, but you'd hardly know it. She met my father late, when he returned from camp in Proskirov. It was February 1944. Next month the Germans entered Budapest and he was recalled to unit. The date? 19th of March. Facts. Bare bones. The rest are silences. A safe house in August, with father's family 2 floors above. September, October, the Arrow Cross, the raid. Her feet are clattering in the gallery. His family are hiding or departed, and only she remains to be betrayed. Betrayed? She felt and thought she was. But who betrayed her? If it was betrayal. And how? Betrayal by omission was a way. Betrayal by those she trusted. Down below, the soldiers in the yard, the quasi-military, they called her down. It was a minute's work. But why was she out on the gallery when it was far more sensible to hide? And why did no one tell her? Who were they? Who should have done so? Why did they shirk their human duty? The wound was always fresh. Even at 51, the year she died, it bored and tunneled deep into her flesh. Katona Josef Street, the Swedish house. My father's family came from the north, Moravia and Bohemia, tailors, painters, vendors of musical instruments, a broker, and father's father was a shoemaker. How much is all this information worth? The list is endless and monotonous. Their season's over. Summers, autumns, winters. Few made the final spring of 45. My father had been brought up by the aunts who coddled me in turn. To survive was an achievement, but my grandparents were underachievers, all of them, bar one. My father's mother. Large-eyed, beaky-nosed. We must have met, but I've no recollection, except of something owl-like, something scented. Her absence gave her little enough protection from mother's fury. The matter was closed, no letters exchanged. In 56 she went to Argentina, wrote, sent messages, but his replies were censored or forbidden. Her case was settled. Sometimes she sent me presents, pale useless things, the kind my mother resented and fanned her hatred for her. It was the hidden secret of my childhood, what she'd done. Even now, I don't know what the truth is. My aunts, or great-aunts, to be precise, brought father up. His home was there. The owl had farmed him out. When evidence was weighed at home, this counted much against her, and nobody replied in her defence. Numerus clausus, numerus nullus. Twice father was hit by laws against the Jews. His education stopped. He worked in knitwear, was twice promoted, then forced out. A friend advised him, trained him, offered him a place he couldn't decently refuse. Apprentice plumber, master of the bowl. For both of them, it was an hour of grace. Inevitably, labour camps. How many perished here? The artists, writers, musicians, plumbers, brothers. Escapades, adventures, tragedies, The company reduced, disbanded, then recalled. The dark-eyed girl in February, back home. Road building, retreat, escape. The waters close about my grandfather and fold over him in Auschwitz. Brief episodes of dire intensity, each trivial sum a fortune lost. The dark-eyed girl moves in with father's mother, sister, baby niece. Its listers and the rosters, jigsaws, piece by piece. They fall together, stand and fall together. The day the soldiers came, she was alone and heard them shouting. On another floor, the female threesome. She looks for them. The door is open. She calls their names, the mother, sister, niece. They do not answer. Where have they gone? Where are they hiding? Nothing. Not a sound. She wanders out, is spotted. It is fear. Fear of discovery. Fear of strangers. It's done. They have not answered. Someone shouts, "Come down!" And who is it pretended not to hear? The rough voice rises. I speak for another and buy my ticket for the underground. This is from a series of poems about memory called Flesh, A Family History. My father carries me across a field. My father carries me across a field. It's night, and there are trenches filled with snow, thick mud. We're careful to remain concealed from something frightening I don't yet know. And then I walk, and there is space between the four of us. We go where we have to go. Did I dream it all, this ghostly scene? The 100-acre wood, where the owl blinked and the ass spoke, where I am cosy and clean in bed, but we are floating, our arms linked over the landscape. My father moves ahead of me, like some strange, almost extinct species, and I follow him in dread across the field, towards my own extinction. Spirits everywhere are drifting over blasted terrain. The winter cold makes no distinction between them and us. My father looks round and smiles, then turns away. We have no function in this place, but keep moving without sound. Lost figures who leave only a blank page behind them. In a dark and frozen ground they pass across, as they might cross a stage. This poem, Death by Deluge, is one of a series of 25 poems about living in England that I actually wrote while I was in Ireland, in a year when there were deluges, there were power failures, there were threats of comets hitting the earth. Death by Deluge. I have seen roads come to a full stop in mid-sentence, as if their meaning had fallen off the world. And this is what happened. What meaning did that day in August. The North Sea had been rough and rising, and the bells of Dunwich rang through all of Suffolk. One wipe of its cuff down cliffs, and in they went, leaving birds to hang puzzled in the air, their nests gone. Enormous tides ran from Southend to Cromer. They swung north and south at once, as if with a clear purpose, thrusting through Lincolnshire and at a rush drowning Sleaford, Newark, leaving no house uncovered. Nothing remained of the Wash but water. Peterborough, Ely, March and Cambridge were followed by Royston, Stevenage, the lush grass of Shaw's Corner. Not a single ridge remained. The Thames Valley filled to the brim, and London clay swallowed Wapping and Greenwich. Then west, roaring and boiling, a rapid skim of Hampshire and Dorset, then the peninsula, Paignton, Plymouth, Lyme, Land's End. A slim line of high hills held out, but all was watercolour, the pure English medium, intended for sky, cloud and sea. Less earth than you could shift with a spatula. This is a sonnet called Water. The hard, beautiful rules of water are these: that it shall rise with displacement, as a man does not, nor his family. That it shall have no plan or subterfuge. That in the cold it shall freeze, in the heat turn to steam. That it shall carry disease and bright, brilliant fish in river and ocean. That it shall roar or meander through metropolitan districts whilst reflecting skies, buildings and trees. And it shall clean and refresh us, even as we slave over stone tubs, or cower in a shelter, or run into the arms of a loved one in some desperate quarter where the rats too are running. That it shall have dominion. That it shall arch its back in the sun, only according to the hard rules of water.